to the Super Squad D live show. Starring Joseph Craven, Tyler Blunt, special guest, famous cubist Pablo Picasso.
Here we are. That's Margaret Thatcher.
And that's Margaret Thatcher. Dang it.
Out of all the people in the world, you had anyone you could have chosen.
Really? Let's do it again. Let's try again.
We're not going to. Welcome to the Super Squad D live show, where the D stands for development.
Development. I am on the ball today. Coming up with all this creative, original stuff.
What other? I don't. All right. Thanks for joining us on this live episode. We've got our live chat up right now on our computers, and we are keeping up with everything that you have to say. Thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. Keep in mind, there's like a 30-second delay or something like that between when we record it and it reaches you.
That's right.
But thank you for being here. We are excited about this episode.
Yeah, the FCC is not censoring this at all.
Nope.
So that's pretty neat.
Exactly.
Also, if you're watching this after the show aired live, kudos to you. Thanks for joining us after the show airs, and there's going to be a special contest that involves, I won't give all the details away, but if you comment below, then you're going to have a chance to win something. I just gave all the details away.
You gave all the details away.
There's no mystery left.
This is the most unprofessional show.
We probably should rehearse. You know, this will be our last show here.
This
at
is the
Super
final
Squad
episode
D.
of Super Squad
Welcome
D.
to the final show.
Producer's telling me we need to move on. First, let's thank our sponsor tonight. Our sponsor is, of course, Bernie Madoff Investment Securities, LLC. Thank you, Mr. Madoff, for sponsoring tonight's show.
Generous cash donation.
Sure.
Appreciate that, Bernie. You're the man.
Why this live show? Well, we mentioned it last week. If you didn't join then, we hate you. But we're going to reiterate what it is.
We love you.
We hate you. Don't listen to him. He's wrong tonight in everything he says. Why give this away? Or no, why do this show? It's because we want to give stuff away. I'm wrong in everything I say.
It's true.
The point of this show is to get around, each other in this little community that just enjoys comics, movies, video games, whatever it may be. Yep. Talk about the stuff that interests us, but also in the process, give a lot of stuff away and try to encourage you guys to go out and do, random act of kindness this week.
That's right.
Because of... I don't know, because you're inspired by how great we are, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I mean, you were really tracking right along until you got to the how great we are part, but
that's
whatever,
fair.
It's fine.
That's fair. Why are we giving stuff away? Why don't you do that little plug real quick?
Yeah, sure. So, you guys may or may not know, I'm going to keep this short, but...
Sounds good.
I was born with cystic fibrosis. I was born in 1985, and at that time, they didn't know much about CF, and when I was born, they told my parents that I probably wouldn't make it to be 18, and I am... well above 18, and that is a huge blessing. I'm not going to say I'm old, but I feel old. But that's a huge blessing, and I don't take any day for granted. And so out of that, I kind of just wanted to do something nice for people, and we came together wanting to spread a little joy, do some giveaways. You want to kind of tease what we're going to give away tonight?
I'll tease it. We're going to be doing a live drawing later in the episode for a couple of high-quality books.
That's right.
And I think maybe a little action figure thrown in as well.
Maybe.
Ooh.
And a little something special.
More details on that coming in later on. If you're in the live chat, first thing first, go ahead. Tell us where you're watching from tonight. We always like to see where everyone is from. I see a few names I recognize from last week. I see a few names that I know personally, and I'm disgusted by their presence. Roe Hunter, looking at you. Either way, we're excited to be doing this. Tonight, we're going to be talking a lot about television, which is one of my first loves. Very early. I said one of my first loves.
I was your earliest first love. We met, no lie, what was it, second grade?
I was in second, you were in third.
Well, that's true.
We really bonded when we got to middle school, and we were on the middle school basketball team, and he couldn't play because he had broken his coccyx.
Wow.
So anyway, tonight we're talking about television shows, and in particular we're talking about super-powered television shows.
That's right.
Shows about heroes, shows based on comics, that type of stuff. The stuff that we're really that we really enjoy, and we're debating whether or not I don't know, the teams that are putting these shows together are doing a good enough job.
Yeah.
With what it is. That's really all we're talking about. And this is an important thing because you go back, we've got a lot of shows right now I can think of that are based on comics or superheroes, but it's not a new thing. I mean, you go back and, of course, we think of the, Kapow and Whammo, Batman.
Classic.
Adam West, Burt Ward Batman from back in the day. But along with that, I mean, you also had Incredible Hulk was a successful
Lou
TV
Ferrigno.
show. Lou Ferrigno's
That dude
Incredible
is the man.
Hulk.
Also featured on King of Queens. There you go.
Cool.
As himself.
That was his, next career moment you wanted to hit on? You didn't want to talk about anything else he accomplished? You didn't want to talk about, his bodybuilding success? No. You want to talk about
King of Queens. That's the pinnacle of success. If you don't like King of Queens, then you're done.
King of Queens. All right. Fair enough to you. Wonder Woman, also an older show. It had a bit more of a cult following than the others, but, that theme song still stands out. Wonder Woman! So...
Don't do that.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Old show, superhero shows they're not new. They've been around for a while, which is pretty cool, but we reached a point about the 90s or so in which there were basically no more live-action superhero shows. It went animated, and there were great animated shows there, but live-action superhero shows kind of took a break for a little bit.
Yeah, they dried up there towards the end of the 90s. You had a couple 90s shows, but for the most part, they weren't popular, and the cartoon shows were really where it's at.
Yeah, they were the jam.
That's another discussion for another day.
Exactly. When did live-action shows come back in? Because this
Honestly,
has a special place in your heart.
It does. Don't touch me.
That's where your heart is?
Good.
Is that where your heart is?
It's somewhere around there.
I wasn't good at anatomy.
I like it when you touch me. So, Smallville was really the beginning, I feel like, of superhero shows making a reemergence. You had Smallville and then later Heroes, but really Smallville proved that you could create a successful formula that could be popular and mass appeal, and really...
Yeah, can we take a time out in just a second?
Sure.
Is reemergence a word? This is bothering me, because it sounds like maybe it's not a word, but it could be a word.
Could somebody who's watching live...
Let us know.
Let us know if reemergence is a word.
Because I'm pretty sure it's re-emergence.
If it's...
And you just have... But I guess the way you say it is
when you put it together, it saves time. I'm trying to save time. We're on a limited time show here. We only have an hour before YouTube cuts us off.
Well, I just cut you off. Keep talking about Smallville.
If reemergence is not a word, that's our band name.
Okay.
Reemergence.
Copyrighted. You can't take it.
That's true. So Smallville really, it was kind of in the aftermath or around the time of X-Men and Spider-Man, some big blockbuster movies that showed, hey, if you take superhero shows or movies rather seriously, they can make a lot of money. And that really just started this open, Pandora's box in terms of superhero shows. And Smallville proved that on a TV network, they could make a week-to-week basis show and it could work for superheroes. And it really opened the door to the modern era of superhero shows on TV that we have today.
Yeah. Why don't you, do you have any of those shows that, a list, or are you just going to name them off the top of your head?
I'm going to name them off the top of my head.
All right, let's see.
As well as I can. So, and this kind of gets us into the discussion, but we're talking about DC versus Marvel. Who's doing it better? So
sure, that's part of the discussion. We're mostly just talking about television and whether anyone's watching it, right?
Yeah, no one's watching. Everyone watches YouTube, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is live. This is what everyone watches. So, Marvel versus DC. DC's got Arrow, which really jump-started their CW universe.
That's true.
So you got Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl now, which came from CBS but was created by the same people who made the other three shows. You had Constantine, which was tragically canceled too early on the wrong network and definitely at the wrong time. And then Lucifer is loosely based off of a comic show. I kind of don't count that. If you're a Lucifer fan out there, my bad, dude. You just got shafted. But I think those are...
You got shafted because you're watching Lucifer to begin with. That's really where the shafting comes from.
That's really where it starts and ends. So, really... I think that's most of DC's shows. Did I leave anybody out?
Well, I mean, you left out the newest one of the DC shows, Powerless, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later on.
True. I did leave out Powerless. My bad, dude.
And we'll get to Powerless later.
And honestly, if you really want to talk about DC shows, you can talk about Riverdale, but that's for later. It's not a DC show, it's a comic show. All right, so Marvel, though. Marvel has... You got network shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is they've tried to do 2 spin-offs now of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it didn't work, but there's a new one in the works.
And one of them never even left the ground, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. But now we're going to have an Inhumans show that got changed from a movie to a show. But you got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then you've got the Marvel Netflix series. And that's where Marvel really seems to hit their stride and to take off, because you've got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and of course, as of today's trailer, Iron Fist. Iron Fist is hitting March 17th. Pretty excited about that.
Yep.
So, when you think about these TV shows, just in your mind, which company do you think is doing it better? What do you like better from these shows?
That's a good question. Before we actually get to that, I'm going to look at some of the live chat and point out a few things. Yeah. There was a string of comments in which people pointed out who from Smallville was hot. Okay. And I think we can agree that pretty much everyone in Smallville was hot.
Let's be honest. If you're on a CW, at that time it was the WB, then later became the CW, and Smallville ran for, I think, 10 seasons. But you're not getting on those shows if you're not hot.
Like, what was in the water in the town of Smallville to have produced so many...
kryptonite.
So many...
I think that was pretty clear from the pilot. There was a meteor crash.
11s in a world of 7s.
A lot of 11s in a world of 7s.
We have, of course, a few international viewers. Again, our friend Oscar from Chile. Toby from the UK is hanging out here. I love that.
Toby's awesome.
Toby's great, especially because Toby pointed out that it is re-emergence.
It's not Remergence.
It's not Remergence.
Well, it's the name of our band, and you'll like our first show.
The process of coming into cider prominence once more. He also pointed out Black Lightning.
Yeah, Black Lightning. That's a great point. Black Lightning just got picked up by created by Greg Berlanti, the guy who made all the DC CW TV shows. It's coming next year. We'll see how that one turns out.
Some of the other things mentioned. Gotham, we overlooked Gotham. But
that's right. Yeah. We did overlook Gotham, which is a DC show, but not tied in. I'm glad someone said that.
You didn't actually mention the Punisher show, which is coming out. I think you just slipped that list. But that's one that is very much on the forefront of my mind, because I thought that, and this is the quick, smooth transition into the discussion of who does it better. I thought that, John Barenthal, I'm not alone in thinking this, but John Barenthal's Punisher was fantastic in season 2 of Daredevil.
He really was awesome.
He's grown to be one of my favorite tough guy actors.
Yeah, he's
because
awesome.
You can't trust him to play much range in his acting ability.
He doesn't need it.
I feel like you can trust him to really, throw down.
Bring it home.
Thank you for all the added comments here.
You're welcome.
And so that's where it's really tough for me, because I think the two companies have taken such completely different approaches to their shows. Marvel, other than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, is network television show, and I watch it, and I think that the whole Ghost Rider series has been really, really good, and I've been really impressed with their handling of Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
But beyond that, they really went a very specific, almost cinematic route with their Netflix shows, which is why, the production value on the Netflix shows is through the roof. It's unbelievable how good it looks, and how well it's written. And they've really had that strength there. But, I think it is important to note that DC has had some good mainstream commercial success with their TV shows. And in particular, I think one of the reasons they have is they haven't linked it to their cinematic universe.
Yeah, and that's a controversial topic.
It's a controversial topic. I think in some ways it's helped out, because it's probably given the writers of the shows more freedom to tackle a lot of... Flash has done Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, to tackle some of the storylines that fans really want to see that aren't getting addressed in movies.
Yeah, I would say, just to chime in on the DC front, DC, in a lot of ways, has... As a fan, I wanted so badly for them to link it to the cinematic universe, and they could have done that, and it could have been great.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Grant Gustin, the actor who plays the Flash, be on the large screen. But in a lot of ways, at the time I wanted those things, I was so limited in my view of what I saw as a possibility from DC. I saw Arrow, and then I was like, Flash, this is great. I had no idea here we would be a few years later talking about 5-6 shows set in the same universe. It's a ton to juggle, but it's really fun. And I think they have had success with Arrow and then Flash, and now Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl, I would say, have seen some success that DC has allowed that success to translate to freedom.
Yes.
Which is great because they've been able to put in characters and to do storylines I mean, the one thing that we all want to see is, well, the two big things. Yeah, you want it.
Okay.
The two things that we wanted to see were Superman, which we got, which was crazy to me that we actually got Superman, and gives me a lot of hope for Batman. Like, we all want Batman, Nightwing. He fits great in that universe. We all want that, and I think there's a shot at that happening now because it's not linked, and I think it turned out to be a blessing. Now, to your point of Marvel taking the cinematic approach,
I think our friend Toby worded it well.
What did he say?
Darker, grittier, with better scripts, overall season storylines, which is very true. It's cinematic in that they went darker and grittier, which is kind of what the DC movies have tried to do.
Yeah.
And the DC shows have unsuccessfully, but that's kind of what they're doing. And the DC shows were going a kind of a different way.
Yeah.
A lot of their stuff. Also, our friend M. Scotter, I just have to point this out because I know Scott in real life. He's praising Riverdale a little bit.
Okay, fair
We got an announcement for you later on, Scott.
Don't worry. Hold your horses. The DC, going back to the DC shows, I think...
You've watched just about all of them?
I've seen them all. I'm a little bit behind on Arrow, and I'm a little bit behind on Flash. But the interesting thing about when you make a show that I feel like Marvel has over DC is that they're not constrained by network time. And from a storytelling standpoint,
yeah, Buzz Lightyear, gotcha. Keep going.
When you make a show for a network TV, you got a lot of this in your writing and your plot. You rise to a climax, cut to commercial. Rise to another climax, cut to commercial. Yep. Rise to another climax, cut to commercial. And so the way you write your episodes has to be done in a certain way. On top of that, the DC shows are on the CW. Everyone's got to be good looking. There's got to be relationship drama. And there's going to be that kind of teen angsty feel that you're going to get.
And everyone is going to forget that the channel exists for, like a year or so, like I've done.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Marvel, on the other hand, has the freedom, these shows have the freedom to tell the story they want to tell in the time they want to tell it. Now, what's interesting is they also haven't always been successful at that. There have been, overall they've had great success on Netflix, but some of their seasons and some of their episodes and some of the shows, like Luke Cage in particular, I'm thinking of, really tended to drag there in some of those middle episodes. So, just because they have freedom doesn't mean they're able to do it perfectly, but I think that inherently gives them an advantage over DC.
That makes a lot of sense. I would point to the fact that DC has, and the live chat is very divided on these, and I respect that. Yeah. You've got some people that are really into the DC shows, some people that are saying they're just too cheesy to get into. I think the cheese factor, if you will, in the DC shows is appealing to a lot of people that, truth be told, maybe just don't want to have that much darkness, grittiness all the time in shows. Yeah, it's a total strength of the Marvel shows for sure. And I'm all about it, and I get it. But if I'm watching one of those shows, I watch, a few graphic scenes that get tossed in every now and then to, like, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I watch something like that, and I'm not able to binge like a lot of people can, because that's one of those things I'm like, I gotta be slower with that.
Gotta digest that a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think there's some people that, and I don't really watch the DC shows that much. I've seen a few episodes here and there, but I've always kind of been a little bit more of a Marvel fan in a lot of ways. Like, I really like Batman, but I didn't really get into a lot of the DC universe beyond that. I'm one of those losers.
Yeah, I've got a friend named Felipe who's very upset at you right now for even saying that. But go on.
That's great. Make fun of me as much as you want in the live chat. I'll be open with you. Not really my strength area here. I'm more the video game guy. But I think that is an appealing thing in the DC shows to a lot of people, is that they are a little bit lighter, more what you would expect to see from a network television show, more what you would expect to see, just from TV. Yeah. And the Marvel series, they have more weight to them, and sometimes you want something a little bit lighter. So that's
I agree.
That may not be accurate, but that's kind of my assessment of maybe why DC is successful like it is.
Yeah, like you said, looking at the chat, it's pretty divided here. I got to give a quick shout out to my friend and nephew Brantley. He's watching, and Bella. Appreciate that, guy.
Good to see you, Brantley.
I think the cheese is appealing, and I think that it's fun if done in the right way.
Yeah.
I think there's a way you can do cheesy that is fun and somewhat self-referential, and then there's a way that you can do cheesy where you're trying to be so serious, but the way the scene is written, it comes off as just bad. Like, I can think of a couple of times on, say, Arrow, when I've been watching it and been like, wow, these guys are taking themselves really seriously, but this whole setting and scenery for the layout of this scene is just so cheesy that it's laughable.
Yeah, exactly.
And conversely, the things that Marvel struggles with, I think you hit on a little bit, are they have freedom to do anything, and so they want to be edgy and graphic, but there are definitely times when I feel like they become graphic just to be graphic.
But that's a big theme in television right now. I mean, The Walking Dead is such a popular show.
That's true.
And if you watch
Game of Thrones
the same way, you know. And I read all the Game of Thrones books. I read all the Song of Fire and Ice books. And I got to get it right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched Walking Dead for several seasons. But after a little bit with Walking Dead, I was kind of like, man, it just kind of seems like they're really lazy right now. And this is all they're doing is, here's another guy dying. Do you want to see that? And
can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode of The Walking Dead.
Interesting.
I've also never seen Stranger Things. Go ahead. Crucify me in the chat. It's fine.
What do you even use your Netflix account for?
I don't know, dude. You ever seen Bubble Guppies? It's pretty legit.
Forgot you're a dad.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
I gave him some grief earlier, but my friend Ro Hunter, all right, you had a good idea. But he and Philip Turchik have pointed out that Punisher on HBO would be an interesting one.
That would be really interesting.
Can you imagine what a Punisher show... I think Punisher on Netflix is going to be good. And I think Punisher on Netflix can probably rival what HBO would be able to do with it content-wise.
Yeah.
But can you imagine an HBO budget for a show like that? I mean, think about just how Game of Thrones looks and everything.
Oh, it would be remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be fantastic. So, I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it's your preference. Me personally, I think Marvel's doing it better solely because they have more freedom on Netflix to tell the stories they want to tell. I think, again, this is just my opinion, I think if DC had the opportunity to make shows in the same way that Marvel does on Netflix, they would be just as good, if not better. But because of the constraints that the CW puts on them to appease their viewers and appeal to the demographic that they're shooting for, and because of the time constraints of a TV show, a 42-minute episode with ups and downs, I think that they're just unable to match what Marvel's able to do, with the one caveat. The one caveat being Marvel does not have nearly the amount of episodes that DC is putting out. When you look at how many shows DC has and how many episodes and how many seasons they have, Daredevil has 2 seasons of I think it's 13 episodes a season?
Right.
They've got 2 seasons, and that took like 4 years. So, I mean, what DC is able to do, so in some ways, they're trading maybe potential quality, even if you would say that, potential quality, for quantity, and that's refreshing to be able to watch these shows week after week and to not have to wait 3 years.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think a plus that the DC shows have had is that, and this was something I said about the movies, and we've said before, like, the movies didn't always do this well, but I think the movies and the shows were trying to be a little bit more comic book movies and shows, and not just movies and shows about superheroes. Marvel's kind of doing the whole thing where it's like, this is about superheroes. You know, this is a Captain America Civil War, but it's not really like Civil War, like the comic book storyline. It's more so Civil War. Cap and Tony are mad at each other again.
It's much more about character development.
It's more about the character, less about like the comic book influence.
Totally.
And I think the DC movies and shows have tried to stick a little bit more so with comic book influence.
I totally agree.
Which is important. And
that's a really good point.
It could be good or bad.
I totally agree, because if you look at the Marvel Netflix shows, and this is a selling point that I would tell somebody, hey, if you haven't seen Daredevil, and they're like, oh, I saw that movie with Ben Affleck, wasn't that great? And I'm like, hey, give it a shot.
Yeah, give the movie a shot.
Because this is not necessarily what you think of a comic book show.
Colin Farrell was awesome.
He was a great Bullseye. Great bullseye. Let's just take a moment to recognize the fact that Colin Farrell, Ben Affleck, and Jennifer Garner were all in a Daredevil film.
They were all in a Daredevil
terrible.
movie. Mm-hmm.
It was bad. But, Marvel is making...
And don't forget they made an Elektra movie off of that.
Hey, that was good. I will stand by the fact that Elektra was good and I liked it and it wasn't long enough. But, to wrap up...
It's like I don't even know you anymore.
I know. To wrap up here, I think that Marvel makes these Netflix series to be series that anyone can watch because they're not overly superhero-y. You watch a Jessica Jones series and you think, oh, it's Jessica Jones. She does have powers, but it's like a detective, suspense thriller. It's not centered around the fact that these are comic book characters. So I think that's a really great point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to interject one thing really quick right here, guys. One time in high school, Joseph and I watched the movie Orange County. Since we're talking about great movies, we watched the movie Orange County 14 days in a row.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Orange County, go watch it. It's fantastic. It might be the best movie of all time, right behind Space Jam. Like Space Jam, Orange County. Go watch it. You won't be disappointed. We did it 14 days in a row. And we may do another marathon this summer.
We talk about it every year. We're like, we need to do another Orange County marathon.
It really was great.
She's like, I'm going to burn this mother down.
I was like, you better not. I'm like, you better not. Woo! Oh, good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Well, hey, continue to let us know what you think. Let us know in the chat. And if you're watching this later, let us know in the comments. I'd love to know who you think is doing it better, Marvel or DC.
Yeah. Ultimately, I mean, if I had to throw my hat in there, I think you said you were siding with Marvel. I'm going to side with Marvel also just because I think that the shows are just made better. And that's important to me. Yeah. That's something that I care a lot about. But I do respect the comic bookness of the DC shows.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Absolutely. That's what I got.
I can dig it, dude.
Fair.
Speaking of shows.
Yeah, that's a good segue.
You recently watched a little show called Powerless.
Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, so I watched Powerless for the purpose of reviewing it. And we're going to give you a little taste of that review right now.
Part of it. We
also, I'm going to go ahead and plug Riverdale. So we also watched the first episode of Riverdale together for the purpose of talking about that, discussing that. And that's something that we'll show later in the week.
Yeah, we got a video dropping on Friday about Riverdale.
So we got a video dropping on Friday about Riverdale. That video is going to have the second giveaway of the week attached to it. So you want to make sure that you tune into that one.
That's right.
And I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance for all of that.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So Powerless is a show that I watched last week. Here's a quick snippet of my review of it. The full review will be released. You know, I think we said tomorrow on here.
Yeah.
We might release it just later on tonight because it's already prepared.
It's already
But anyway,
ready.
The full review coming out later. Here's a quick sample teaser of the review. Hey guys, it's time we talked about Powerless, NBC's newest show in a series of sitcoms based around the concept of the brightness being turned up way too high. Powerless is a comedy set in the DC universe, so it's billed as sort of The Office meets, I don't know, Smallville. The show stars Vanessa Hudgens from High School Musical fame, among other things, but I bring up High School Musical for a reason, as a character named Emily Locke. Emily is an employee at Wayne Securities, an insurance firm specializing in making products to protect defenseless bystanders from the collateral damage of superheroes and supervillains. Joining Vanessa Hudgens in the cast is Alan Tudyk, who we all know and love from Firefly and Serenity and Dodgeball, and Danny Pudi, who we know from Community, or even more importantly, that old cell phone commercial about a dead relationship.
Oh, guess who it is? It's your butt. Hey, butt. So no more butt dialing. Yay.
Yay!
Oh, really?
My butt just hung up on you.
The premise of the show is, I think actually pretty clever. It addresses some of the absurdities that we don't really think about when we watch a superhero movie or another superhero TV show. In particular, it deals with what life must be like for just the normal people that are now forced to live in a super-powered world. They joke in the first episode that the leading cause of workplace accidents is Superman crashing through your office window. In the opening scene of the show, Emily is on a train riding to work and is amazed watching a battle between a superhero and a supervillain. She turns to the other passengers on the train and says, "Well, you don't see that every day." To which the passengers reply, "Here, yes, you do. Every day." And it's funny because we don't really look at the outside world when relating to superhero movies and TV shows. Everything's so focused on the heroes that we always joke about, man, how much damage do they cause? That's kind of what this show is more about. Batman vs. Superman addressed the gravity of mass destruction in superpowered fights and how it affects the cities and the bystanders there. It's kind of like how Captain America Civil War kind of approached the subject, but instead decided to fill the movie up with scenes of Cap and Tony Stark trying really hard not to turn their friendly disagreement into a full-on makeout session. Powerless decides to take a comedic approach to the citizens who really just want to live normal lives but are constantly being disrupted and interrupted by ridiculous superpowered situations. It's a premise that's brought up early on in the opening scenes of the show, and then it's kind of rushed along in this first episode as they try to fit in a whole bunch of character introduction and all that sort of stuff. So it kind of gets brushed off to the side. At the same time, it's a highly promising and kind of hilarious premise that, if explored deeply, can make for a pretty good show, a good and original show, I think. The only question is whether they'll have time to do it. So, an important note about that, I kind of looked like a zombie.
Yeah, you are a zombie, right? You did kind of look like a zombie.
I looked dead, and I felt really bad. Like, my confidence was never been lower than when I first started editing that video.
But wait, you had a backwards cap on. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, I am pretty slick like that with my hat collection.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone would like to guess, here's a trivia question. How many hats I have in my hat collection?
33.
That's not it. All right. We sent out a link to the giveaway.
Booyah!
In the live chat.
That's right.
Tyler, why don't you give the rules of the giveaway real
So
quick?
here's the rules of the giveaway. If you want to be entered, show them what they're going to be entered for. He's going to flash it on the screen in just a second. But if you want to be entered in the giveaway,
take my time.
It's actually free. Mm-hmm. It's domestic U.S. only.
Yeah. Sorry, Toby.
Yeah, sorry, Toby, and our other international friends. But only for this. The gift card giveaway, which we'll talk about again at the end of the stream, will be anybody in the world.
Yep.
It'll be a $20 gift card to In-Stock Trades or your retailer of choice, even PayPal.
It's true.
So
it's true.
So
we'll just give $20 on PayPal.
I mean, basically.
Yep.
So the rules of this giveaway are simple. You go to the link, you enter, you log in using your email, and you agree to do one thing for us this week. And that one thing is to do one nice thing for somebody else this week that doesn't expect it, that's out of your way. Try to bring some joy to somebody else. Kind of what we want to promote here is this idea of thinking beyond yourself and thinking about what you can do for other people. Yeah. It's easy for me to get caught up in the day-to-day. Hey, this is what I want to do today. This is how I want to live my life, and just focus on me a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a cool way to just commit to one another, to commit by entering this giveaway to say, hey, I'm going to do something nice for somebody.
Yeah.
So pretty
absolutely.
Cool.
It's not hard for me to look back on my life and, see moments in which, yes, I just kind of, pulled myself up by the bootstraps and, accomplished stuff I always saw. And it's really easy to see a lot of moments in which other people helped me out along the way. And so, that's all it takes for me to say, hey, I want to be a little bit nicer. Yeah. I want to make more of an effort for that. So here are some of the things that will be in this giveaway. And that is a loud mug. You could not have chosen
Sorry about that, guys.
It's a cool TARDIS mug, but
it's a cool mug.
All right, we've got a couple of books that we're going to be giving away. First off, we have the Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's right.
Ultimate Spider-Man Learning
Thank you,
Curve.
Henry, for donating that to be given away.
Oh yeah, my friend Henry, friend of the show.
Yep.
And we have Green Lantern Rebirth.
Booyah!
So there you go. So out of the books, Ultimate Spider-Man Learning Curve, Green Lantern Rebirth are the things that we are.
There's also going to be a surprise action figure.
Yep.
You never know what it could be. I mean,
sure.
you will know at some point.
Yeah, we'll be giving away an action figure as part of this as well.
That's right.
So
but it's a surprise.
But it's a surprise. You'll have to just open up the package to find out what it is. But there are the books that we are giving away.
That's right.
Okay, fine. You take them.
I just wanted to take them.
All right, whatever.
Cool. Cool.
That was in honor of Danny.
That's right.
I think that it is probably time for a game.
It's time for a game.
It's time for a game.
It's time for a game. Time for a game.
If you
Am I the only one dancing?
Yeah.
Okay. Dance at home.
If you're tuning in, or if you tuned in last week, you of course saw us play a round of Superpower Would You Rather.
Which I think we can unequivocally agree that I won.
Yeah, I
Feels
announced you as the winner of that one. You didn't have to say unequivocally. It was.
Well, now I just seem like a jerk, like I'm rubbing it in your face.
That's because you are a jerk.
Boom! I won!
Tonight's game is going to be called Console Wars.
Console Wars. That's right, but a little bit of a twist.
Sort of.
Well, we're not really going to be putting an Xbox versus a PlayStation because that would be the most boring fight ever. They just sit there. They don't have legs. They don't have arms.
This isn't CNET. We're not just reviewing, technology for you.
Boring. What we're going to do is we're going to take mascots or characters,
3 of them,
from 2 separate consoles, and we're going to have them face off and fight each other, and we're going to let you guys help us decide which console has the best characters to fight in this battle. Who wins?
Yeah, so this is how it's going to go down. If you tuned in last week, you remember one of us would present a bad superpower, the other person would present another one, and then we debated about which superpower we would rather have.
Yes.
It's going to be the same sort of format here. One of us will produce a notable character from a console, and we have been given an individual console. I have been assigned the Sega Genesis, which I had as a kid and remember fondly. Tyler has been assigned
the Super Nintendo. Yay! Oh my gosh, you're so great.
Yeah. No one's going to deny that.
Okay, sorry.
You are the worst.
You are the worst.
So, on this, what will undeniably be the last episode of Super Squad.
Thanks for tuning in. This was fun. I think we've now alienated all of our
producers over there just shaking her head at me.
Shaking her head
at me. On this episode, we're going to produce a character. I will say a character. He'll say another character. We'll debate over which character is the better character. And we want to see your responses in the live chat. So, Tyler, because you won last week, you get to go first with your first character.
All right. My first Super Nintendo character, you probably guessed it at home. And by the way, he has no idea who I'm going to say. We have not pre-talked about this.
We have not revealed this to each other.
So my first character is none other than Link from The Legend of Zelda. What does Link bring? Well, everything. He's got an arsenal at his fingertips, magically in his pouch. He can use magic, for one. He's got a bow and arrow, bombs, a sword, another sword called the Master Sword. He's got a lantern. He can light up dark places. He's got a cape of invisibility. I mean, we could go on and on.
I've got a flashlight app on my phone. I should go questing into some dungeons as well, it seems.
Well, who you got for me? From Sega. Let's hit it. Let's hear
From
it.
Sega, I'm going to go with... I'm going to pull out my idea notebook.
Yep.
The first character that I'm going to go with in this competition is a very notable Sega character from the most identifiable Sega Genesis, Sega whatever series, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm of course going with the star of Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles the Echidna.
Knuckles, of course. He was the best one.
Knuckles debuted in Sonic 3 on the Sega Genesis. No, I'm sorry, not Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles in the Sega Genesis. He had its own game. It was the same sort of game as the others, but Knuckles was a brand new character to the series when it came out. No one in the world, outside of Australia knew what an echidna was.
Yeah, I still don't.
Yeah, and so Knuckles was a character that, of course, changed the way Sonic games were played. Sonic was really fast. Tails could kind of fly a little bit. Knuckles could just straight up climb up walls.
Yeah, he's got spikes on his knuckles.
Spikes on his knuckles. That was hence the name. But what I think is the coolest thing about... Right? You didn't know it. What I think is the coolest thing about Knuckles is this. Sonic and Knuckles was not shaped like a normal cartridge. It had a little thing up on the top that you could flip open and you could plug in Sonic 3 or Sonic 2.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And it would put Knuckles into Sonic 2 or Sonic 3. So Knuckles had the ability, back in the mid-90s, to mod console games.
That's a pretty open... So are you saying that Knuckles could come into my Zelda game? Is that essentially what you're trying to tell me?
I'm not saying that he could, but I'm not saying that he wouldn't do it if given the opportunity.
Okay.
So you pulled out the big guns early on with Link.
I'm going hard.
And that's totally fine, and I totally respect that.
Yeah.
But Knuckles, I think, is one of the most iconic ones on the Genesis, the ones that stick out to me, because that game was basically early modding, which I think is
that's
amazing.
pretty impressive.
As a kid, it blew my mind that they were able to do that.
So, who's going to be your pick?
Gosh, that's really tough because you pulled out the big guns instantly.
I went big really quickly.
Whew. Man, I just don't know. You give
I'm
your answer
gonna be
first.
honest. There are some iterations of Link that would be really, really strong, but Knuckles never broke. They never got injured. Like, he would die, but are they made of adamantium? I can't say. I don't know. Do you know? I think it's quite possible that Knuckles could punch through anything that Link could throw at him. Magic, anything else. So I'm kind of going to give it to Knuckles.
Okay. This is my only question. Are we
Okay.
talking about Kid Link or Adult Link?
We're talking about Kid Link from A Link to the Past.
Oh, then Knuckles will win.
Okay. I mean, I guess he's Kid Link, or is he Adult Link? It's in A Link to the Past. I don't know how old he really was supposed to be in that game.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't really a kid until the 64 games.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to go with Link then.
Okay.
I think that's
Why would you go with Link?
young adult Link. Well, he just is a hardened veteran warrior at that point in time. He's faced many a Scatola. He's bested Ganon probably a couple of times. He even woke up a giant flying whale who was dreaming a world, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Link. I think I really am gonna go with
Link.
Link. I'm switching back to Link. You
Okay.
convinced me. Link is the clear winner here. Let's see what we got here. Some comments.
We got Alec Holland pointing out that Link could take more than 2 consecutive hits without dying.
That's true.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm trying to exercise or something and I trip and fall, boom, rings come flying out of me.
Yeah.
Knuckles still much faster than Link.
That's
There's
true.
one thing that I do remember about Link from Link to the Past. He was not exactly the fastest mover in the world. So that's going to go in his favor. But
I'm sticking with Link here.
I'm going to stick with Link as well, but I think it's going to be a close one.
All right.
So
round 2.
Yeah, round 2. My second character, and one that I am very proud of. The Sega Genesis had some real weird ones. I'm going to go with Vector Man.
Wow, Vector Man. You are
remember
bringing
Vector
out.
Man?
I do remember Vector Man. You're bringing out the big guns here, dude.
Vector Man was sort of a Sega Genesis updated version of Mega Man in some ways.
Kind of, yeah.
Similar names, similar style in that you can, with Vector Man, you could shapeshift. You have different abilities depending on what form you have taken. Vector Man was made out of a bunch of balls. He looked like some sort of weird Lego set as a video game character, and I couldn't really tell if it was supposed to be machinery, robots, what it was.
Doesn't matter. He's Vector
Man
Man.
was versatile. He could shapeshift to match the situations. I'm gonna go with Vector Man as my second.
I can dig it. So, in an interesting twist, I love that you went with the Vector Man because my second character is none other than the pink god himself, Kirby.
Yeah, that's
Kirby
a good call.
as well could take on the abilities of his enemies.
Yep.
I mean, who can beat Kirby? He sucks them in, boop, poops them out. He's got their powers. He can do what they can do. And he could go up in the sky and then come down hard as a brick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some skills. He's nearly indestructible, I think.
In brick form, for sure.
Oh, for sure in brick form. Smash Bros. Has taught us that.
Exactly. Ooh,
But
that's a good one.
he can. But Vector Man can shapeshift.
It's true. And I'm thinking about you mentioned Smash Bros for the 64, and I'm also thinking about how it was kind of really easy to kill Kirby if you hit him right in Smash Bros. That's one thing about Kirby. He is, pink ball. He's
light.
He's versatile. He's light, and he's kind of durable because he's basically a Jello sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think Vector Man Kirby's cute.
Yeah.
Vector Man, gritty, determined, and has more weapons. So I'm gonna go with the mechanical, the legend Vector Man. I'm gonna go with my own pick on this one.
I honestly think Vector Man has seen tougher battles and tougher days than Kirby.
Yep.
I don't.
It was a darker world. It was some sort of post-apocalyptic.
It really
nonsense,
was.
So
I don't know if he could kill Kirby, but in a fight, I think he could best Kirby.
Yeah.
You know, in a one-on-one match, I'm not going to say he could kill Kirby,
No.
but I can give it to you that he could beat Kirby.
In this, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
I'm going to go with Vector Man.
there you go.
You know, and it's tough because I think Kirby would have beaten a lot of others, but I think this is
this was just an interesting matchup because
Yep.
we picked our picks beforehand, and there's no changes. No changes.
All right.
All right, so third and finally,
yes,
this is the pick I'm most excited about, and I
Mine
think
too.
is probably indefeatable. I don't want to say he's invincible, but I don't know how you could beat him.
Okay.
That is the legendary, the remergent. Is that the word I said earlier?
Yeah.
Remergent Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong himself, guys. Let me tell you why Cranky Kong is the greatest Super Nintendo character of all time.
Oh wow.
Because Cranky Kong has seen it all, folks. Cranky Kong, you may or may not know this about Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong debuted seemingly in Donkey Kong Country, which released on the Super Nintendo.
Seemingly.
However, as you progress through the game, and as you hear some of Cranky Kong's old crazy stories, what you come to realize is Cranky Kong himself was the original Donkey Kong who kidnapped Mario's girlfriend, Pauline.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, whew, Pauline, she's still alive, but yeah, whatever. So, Cranky Kong has a lot of combat experience. He's fought the king himself, Mario, and bested him on many a day. He can throw barrels like a boss, but now he's old, and I'll give you not as strong as he once was. We didn't see him fight, so we don't know. He could whip that cane around. I've seen some elderly folks whip you around. So he could fight, he could throw, and he's got the wisdom that only comes through life experiences.
And the curmudgeonry that only
Oh, he
comes
doesn't take
through
nothing
life
from
experience.
nobody. I can tell you that
Nothing
much
from
right now.
nobody.
He is cranky.
Oh man, that is a brilliant pick.
Thank you.
That is a brilliant pick. I'm pretty proud of my pick also.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to give you a hint, anyone watching at home, if you can identify this familiar sound from this character. Ow! You know who that is? That's, of course, whenever damage is taken by Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim!
Now-
What a great character.
Quick side note, before anyone points out in the live chat, the Earthworm Jim game was made for the Super Nintendo. It was ported to the Super Nintendo. It was originally developed for the Sega Genesis. So he was originally a Sega Genesis character. So that's why we talked about that part beforehand. I was like, okay to pick that.
No, it works.
So he is more of a Sega Genesis character. The Super Nintendo
dig
game
it.
was just an addition. But Earthworm Jim, he had it all. Weirdness, humor, of course that ow sound effect anytime he got hurt.
He could whip himself.
He could whip himself. He was a
whip
super
himself.
suit with a worm inside. Earthworm Jim inspired a cartoon, which I think is really important, which is also really weird cartoon as well. Earthworm Jim captured the I don't know, kind of the voice of the Ren and Stimpy generation for video games in a lot of ways.
You know what Earthworm Jim reminds me of? The game Toe Jam and Earl.
Yes.
Was it Escape of Funkatron or Planet Funkatron? Something like that.
Yeah,
A little bit obscure like that.
Yeah. So we brought out the big guns for this
really
last
did.
one.
This is great. So
I'm looking over the live chat.
What we seeing here?
Pretty much so far, everyone's agreed with our choices.
Yeah.
Link wins the first one. Vector Man wins the second one. And everyone seems pretty torn. We have my buddy Scott, who's on here, who is mentioning that I should have gone with Toe Jam.
Yeah.
And Oscar from Chile has said should have picked Dwarf from Golden Axe. There were I cycled through a lot of Golden Axe and characters trying to figure out if I wanted to go with one of those. Booger Man has been mentioned on here, which is a great one. I remember Toe Jam Earl and Booger Man quite fondly. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Same thing we did last week. We're going to show you another little segment.
Okay.
And in the meantime, you tell us who you think's going to win.
That's right.
Cranky Kong or Earthworm Jim.
Yep.
And we will watch the live chat here while you watch this segment. Tyler, why don't you set it up since it's yours?
So again, we're not just all about comic books here, like video games too. For those who don't know, Fire Emblem Heroes came out this past week by Nintendo. It's a mobile game. I'm totally obsessed with it. I love it. I wanted to do a quick review, tell you guys about it, and you can hear my thoughts on it.
Is that it?
That's it. I smiled,
okay.
so that was
Cool.
means transition.
I'm not looking at you.
They finally did it! Yes, guys, yes! We finally have a Fire Emblem Nintendo-made game on mobile. Nintendo, you did it! You made a mobile game! How awesome is it that we finally get a Nintendo mobile game? Started with Pokemon Go a few months back, we got that, the next big one was Super Mario Run, and now, finally, a Fire Emblem game. If you're a Nintendo fan like me, you've been waiting for this day to come for decades. Nintendo, where you been, dude? We've been in the mobile games department for like 10 years. We've been waiting for you to join. It's okay. Better late to the party than never, am I right? So Fire Emblem. I'm going to tell you the great, I'm going to tell you what's terrible, and I'm going to tell you if you should be playing. The first Fire Emblem I played was Fire Emblem's Awakening for the 3DS. Amazing game, huge replayability, and great depth. This game is a slimmed down version of a normal Fire Emblem game. For those who've never played Fire Emblem, it's a turn-based RPG style game where you take 4 units and you move around a map and you attack other units. Sounds kind of boring, but it's incredible. So the game's gonna start out and toss you right into this world where you've been chosen to help lead this battle against an evil army trying to take over all the realm. To do that, you're gonna call upon the help of famous heroes from all the different Fire Emblem games to join your squad and help you take out the enemy. Not only are you summoning famous Fire Emblem characters, the enemy is summoning famous Fire Emblem characters as well. So as you progress through the story, you're going to be fighting against the very heroes of other games that you've come to know and love from the Fire Emblem franchise. Along with a pretty lengthy story campaign comes PvP, where you can take your team of 4 and fight against other players' teams that are controlled by the AI. You can do this 3 times a day, and this yields some pretty exciting results. It's always awesome to show off your team and to prove that you're the best, right? So what is good about this game? Let me tell you. Everything is good about this game. First, it's free to play. If you're interested in this game at all, download it, give it a shot. Second, it's got 3 difficulty levels of an entire story campaign, which gives you a lot of opportunities to play, to mix up teams, and to have some fun. Third, it's a really well-designed game. This is a Nintendo game we're talking about here. You know Nintendo brings the quality, and when you play this game, you feel that. You feel like you're playing a Nintendo game that was made for an actual console. You got 3 basic weapon types that are gonna all be strong against each other, so it's kind of a paper, rock, scissors game. Red beats green, green beats blue, blue beats red, and it lets you understand how good your units are and who you need to attack when right off the bat. Another great thing about this game is that you can summon Fire Emblem heroes from other Fire Emblem games. So you can rock a team that rocks Lucina, Roy, Marth. If you're not a Fire Emblem fan, you're probably scratching your head wondering who those guys are. Don't worry, when you play this game, you're gonna find out, because they're awesome! Alright, so let's talk about the bad. We gotta talk about what's not good about this game. First of all, it's never ending. Some people might think that's great, but other people are gonna be turned off by the fact that there's no clear end to this story. Nintendo's already said they're gonna be putting out patches every 2 weeks to increase the story and to further what you do in the game. For some, that's going to turn out to be great, but other people are going to want a finished product right away. You're not going to get closure from this story. Second, the price of orbs. So, orbs are the currency in-game used to summon other heroes to join your team. Now, the price that Nintendo set is kind of high, and that's going to throw some people off. You can earn some in-game, which is great, and is going to give you more than what you need to beat the game as it currently stands, but if you're a min-maxer or you like to have the best of everything, you're going to have to drop some dime. Now, as a little side note, if you've played other gacha games, the summon rates are similar to those, except for the fact that this game lets you break down the type of character you want to summon, so you have an increased chance of getting the unit that you want. If you've not played another gacha game, that's not going to mean much to you, but if you've played games like Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, or others, this is a godsend. Seriously, one of the best features of this whole game. But again, you're gonna have to pay if you want to get all the units, and that's the downside. And finally, from a gameplay standpoint, the 2 things that tick me off the most: one, that stamina is capped at 50. And what that means is your stamina is what you use to participate in levels. Most games let you increase your stamina the stronger you get. This game caps you always at 50. So if a level costs 20 stamina to play, that means you're gonna burn through all of your stamina really quick and you're gonna be waiting to play the game. That's not fun. The other gameplay feature that's frustrating is the rarity increase. It's awesome that you can take any unit and max it out at 5 stars, which is the max rarity and the strongest units. But the downside is the cost that they've put to increase your unit from 4 to 5 stars is astronomical. At this point in the game, you're looking at a month worth of play just to get one unit from 4 star to 5 star. That ain't fun. That ain't gonna fly. So let's hope that gets changed. All right, so what's the verdict of this game? If you listen to this review, you know at this point, go download it. Check it out. It's free to play. There's absolutely no risk, except maybe your sanity, and if you got a gambling problem, your wallet. This game is really fun, it's really engaging, and it can be completely played free to play. Stop what you're doing, download it for free, give it a try, and let me know what you think. I hope to see you on the battlefield. Peace!
Peace!
There you go. So
You're
guys,
the king of ending videos poorly.
yeah, I am. Peace! So definitely go check that game out. I've been playing it a ton. Message me your friend ID. We can be buds in that game. I give you some feathers. You're probably like, what does that mean? Download the game and you'll find out what it means. I want to give you some feathers.
It's the weirdest thing to plug.
I'm telling you, it's so good.
Oh, man.
So we're going to move into our giveaway.
Whoa! You're skipping over the winner of the console wars.
Oh, no, you're so right.
Gosh.
I almost forgot. We know
Goodness.
who won, and honestly, there's a reason I skipped it.
And yeah, well, and you probably know who won if you're looking at the live chat because you have voted, and it seemed to be overwhelmingly in favor of Earthworm Jim.
That's right, folks. Earthworm Jim.
Which is a crying shame because Cranky Kong was an amazing choice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate the honorable mention that you gave me.
Yeah, I mean, you
Appreciate
still lost.
that. Yeah.
You still lost, though.
Wow.
You lost.
You know, I'm a gracious winner.
He lost.
I'm a gracious winner.
You are the opposite of that.
Appreciate it if you would return that favor.
You actually physically rubbed it in my face last week.
I don't remember
So,
that. There's
I'm just
no,
saying,
there's
that
no
happened.
Proof. There's no proof.
The competition so far this year is 1-1.
Yeah.
You won last week, I won this week.
That's
So
right. Who knows what will happen next
knows
week?
what will happen
Anything
next
can
week.
happen on SSD where it's unfiltered.
Hey.
So the giveaway, we're moving into it. Get your entries in if you're not there already, and we're going to go ahead and pick a winner.
Yep.
While we're doing that, did you want to mention your plug? We're gonna do a new segment called.
Well, it's just something that we're going to do really quick at the end of episodes,
Yeah.
just to wrap things up. It's just a quick plug of the week. It's something that we've been enjoying in the past week that we want to share with you. Nothing fancy. Doesn't have to be anything related to the rest of the show. For example, mine is, I was listening to some music the other day, and a song shuffled up by a little band called The Wild Reeds. And they're just a little indie folk, female-led band. So if you're into that sort of style, I'm into like indie folk rock style. It's kind of something I listen to a lot. And they have dynamic voices, really good stuff going on there. They got just a little small following. I mean, I checked their Twitter account. They've got like 1,500 followers, and that's
Nice.
it. So
Could
little
be
band,
1501.
exactly. If you want to give that a listen, if you're into that, The Wild Reeds, spelled Reeds. How about your plug of the week?
Yeah, so my plug of the week happened today. It's the trailer for The Immortal Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Coming out, it's actually just called Iron Fist, but it's coming out on March 17th. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. I posted the link on our Facebook page. If you haven't liked that, go ahead.
Yep.
But you can check that out. It's all over YouTube. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a winner?
We got a winner, ladies and gentlemen. I have drawn a winner. And let me remind you, if you guys want to give something away,
Yeah.
we would love to give it away for you.
We welcome all donations.
We do. So just message one of us or send a message to our YouTube channel, either through Facebook or here.
We've received, in the past week, a lot of really, really high-quality
We've got
donations.
really good stuff to give away.
So there are
guys.
great giveaways coming up soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that. So anyway, feel free to do that. The winner of this competition is, drum roll, I was going to get the books, but it's too far away. I'm going to butcher this name. So it is Pete Krolski. I know I butchered your last name. I'm really sorry, but I'm so glad you won, Pete. I'm
going to go with Krolsich.
Okay.
No, it's got a K at the end. That's
I'm
not
sorry.
It. Congrats, though,
Pete,
Pete.
you're awesome. Let's give a victory dance for Pete. Someone said this is a shake weight dance, and I approve.
Yeah, that seems like it.
It felt
That's
like
pretty good.
So Pete, awesome man. I'll get with
to
you and we'll get you that. We'll get that shipped to you. I'll get your address.
2
and,
books, 1 figure.
Boom, done.
Can't complain about that. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching.
It's been
As
so much
always,
fun.
We encourage you, get out, do something nice for somebody this week.
Right.
And, you know, if that nice thing involves donating something to us so we can give it away in the show later on, by all means,
Happy to do it.
come on over there.
Happy to
Come
do
on
it.
over there.
Also, I want to remind people that there's still one giveaway left. It's for a gift card. If you will leave a comment on this video after it gets posted, so once the live stream ends, we'll post this video. If you will leave a comment down below, you will have a shot at winning a gift card, which will be announced on Friday's video, which is, of course, a review of Riverdale, which I can't wait for.
Ooh.
So excited.
Pete Crowdcheck.
That's
he just
right.
said Crowdcheck.
Crowdcheck. There you go. Congratulations,
Congrats, Pete.
Also, just wanted to mention that we'll be dropping a video also this week about Ben Affleck dropping out of directing Batman.
So there's going to be a couple of bonus videos,
Yeah,
not just
so-
the normal Friday video about Riverdale. Riverside.
There you go.
Riverside.
You butchered that horribly. So, again, thanks to our special guest.
Yeah, that would be Pablo Picasso, a true master of art. Thank
We
you for being here
appreciate
today,
you being
Pablo.
here. Even
Producers telling me we got to wrap it up. We're over time.
All
so
right. Well,
we're going to
hey.
do that. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Super Squad D, Twitter, Super
Right.
Squad D.
If you haven't liked and subscribed to our page, if you do that, that'd be great. If you drop a like on this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome.
Spoiler alert, some of our future giveaways are going to be based on whether you subscribe to the channel.
That's true.
So that's important.
That's
So,
true.
That's going to do it. That's Tyler.
I'm Joseph.
Stop that. This is Super Squad D, where the D stands for disappointment.